Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are repeat listeners to the channel. Hopefully, there's something in here that you enjoy and something that is beneficial to you. If you are looking for a way to connect on a deeper level, we would love to be able to do that for you. Please feel free to reach out in the About Me section of this YouTube page. Also, feel free to reach out in the About Me section of this YouTube channel and at PO Perception on Twitter. The more we can connect, the easier it is to be of service to you. And so that's why we try to make this a regular stop for us. With nearly 800 audios, we try to be here on a continual basis. In any event, this is kind of a, no pun intended, but a sad audio. And this is people that are dealing with a sad life. What are some signs? Number one, and the first, and this will be somewhat controversial to many, but a dependency on social media. Many times I deal with clients who are addicted to social media, be it Instagram, Facebook, or other apps. And a lot of this is the illusion of competition that comes along with the idea of the relationship itself being of value. And ultimately, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad to take a look at that. It's good if you're really ready to confront the time wasted in that way. It's bad, though, if you are a person who is using that as a coping mechanism and then you begin to strip it away and it's uncomfortable for you. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean by any stretch of the imagination that you can't overcome it. Also, it doesn't mean that if you do have this struggle, that there isn't help for it. A matter of fact, social media addiction has been added to many mental health catalogs as an actual disorder, and thus it means at the end of the day that this can be dealt with and handled, and there are treatments available. But if you are constantly looking at the online world in comparison to what your life is lacking, this may mean that you are in fact leading a very sad life, or at the very least, an unfulfilled one. The next thing to consider when looking at things like this is the possibility of kind of dealing with waking up sad. So, how we wake up has a lot to do with number one, where we shut off, and also the level of pressure that we look at the world through, optimism versus pessimism, or are we waking up with gratitude or obligation? And that's not to say that we don't have obligations. Obviously, we do. However, when a person is consumed with obligation to the point where they don't enjoy any sort of daily living or the idea that their life can improve, then there's a lot of loss that comes with that mentality. There's a lot of loss that comes with that, kind of way to go forward and getting things into a meaningful manner. And so finding a way to kind of get to a place where you begin to understand that how you wake up and the morning routine that you have and the way in which you are making um, the most out of your daily life, your daily experience, and not making the mistake of getting bogged down with the habit of always being in emotional pain, the habit of always being struggling with what you haven't done yet, and the illusion of competition can be extremely a really big challenge. The next thing is kind of looking at the best way being ahead. So if there isn't joy on a continual basis in the present moment for you, that is, if you are constantly looking at the pain of the present moment as something that you have to get through, and you're not seeing simplicity, and you're not seeing synchronicity, and you're not seeing things that are benefiting you in any way through the present moment, it can be super difficult to find sparks to keep going, especially if you have a lot of responsibilities on your plate and you're not finding simplistic joys. Now, obviously, it's all a matter of perception and perspective. One doesn't like doing the dishes until they think about perhaps having a disability to where they couldn't do dishes. One doesn't like going to work until in a job they don't particularly like until they don't have a job. So finding ways to look at where we are versus where we're going, and finding ways to be grateful even through hardship, is almost a discipline factor that needs to be at the hand and in the hands of people that are trying to live well, not necessarily because there's anything wrong with the way you're living. You know, if you're not doing that, but because at the end of the day, finding a way to connect with your inner purpose and the ways in which you view the world in a better way, in a healthier way, can improve your quality of life almost immediately, especially if you are doing so on a continual, consistent basis and being disciplined about the action of looking for things to be grateful for. People that are constantly dealing with a sadder life are people that keep themselves so busy that they're burnt out, which means they're keeping busy because they don't want to have time to reflect on the things that they're struggling with. Instead, they focus on being so busy, be it with friends, family, always being in motion, or always working, looking for new opportunities, that they're not enjoying the opportunities in front of them. This level of burnout will eventually lead to a physical and emotional collapse, but sometimes this takes months or years in order to kind of look at things. And so rumination on the past is the next in these major issues. People who ruminate on the past often have a lot of difficulty dealing with the concept that the past is something we cannot change, the future is something we co-create, so the present moment is where the power is. But if a person doesn't necessarily feel they have any power, they're not going to see that in value. They're not going to see the value in being present moment minded. And so this can get kind of bogged down. And then the final thing is their self-care begins to suffer. When you're dealing with sadness on a continual basis, the amount of time you take care of yourself, something simple as new clothes or brushing your hair or taking a shower or whatever, basic self-care things on a daily basis, is eliminated and reduced, not because you don't know that these things need to be done, but they're less important overall. So hopefully this is helpful. I encourage you to reach out if you need help, and until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.